up and owners meetings. I'm a rookie. Is there hazing? What's going on? Let me tell you the lineup we have on this program. Elliot Wolf. He's not a GM. He's got a fancier title than that. Also, he's got one L in his name because he's too busy giving L's to the other opponents that he's going to be facing. They pick 4 overall. We're going to get into everything with him. Travis Hunter. I don't know. He's sitting to my right now. It's okay. We also have Les Snead on the program, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Howie Roseman making his way to the show. We will have Dave Canales, Mike McDaniel. Need I go on? So many stars. My first time here. I might never leave. I cannot believe that everybody hid away this gem of a Disneyland that are the owner meetings in Palm Beach. We're going to get very official. Oh, I like when the show starts on live television. Don't ask me that with Elliot Wolf. I want to get this right. Executive Vice President of Player Personnel. More importantly, if you could go back in time and add that second L to Elliot, would you?
No, it was my mother's choice, and I'm not going to go against her.
Oh, my gosh. I love this. I love this. We were just talking about it's the fact that it's our rookie experience here. Neither of us have ever been to owner meetings, except I find that hard to believe with your dad. I'm sure you've been in that pool over here at the Breakers once or twice.
Yeah, I was a family member that came here. So about 25 years ago, I was here at the Breakers and, just kind of taking on all the social events on the side.
What does it feel like to be here? If you could describe, maybe out of 100 slices of pie, how much is business, how much is pleasure?
It's been all business so far. Very little pleasure. We're all about the work here. I haven't even seen the pool yet, which is unfortunate, but we're here just kind of taking in all the meetings and trying to do what's best for the league.
What a big swing offseason. League schmeek. Let's talk about the Patriots here. You got the 4th overall pick. You reel in Stephon Diggs on the same day that I asked Drake May while he was golfing. I said, "Are you recruiting players?" I asked him at the Super Bowl. What went into making that choice, and why do you think he'll be such a good fit?
Yeah, Stephon's obviously someone that I've admired for a long time, playing for the Vikings when I was in Green Bay and, being unable to really contain him too much. And then, against, when he was in Buffalo. So he became available. Some things came together. We met with him. It was a phenomenal dinner meeting with him. And then the next day at the facility.
Where'd you guys go?
We went to Davio's in Patriot Place.
Love Davio's.
A little shout out to Davio's.
What was the order? What was his order? Do you remember?
I don't remember, no.
What are you trying to pick up from him in a meeting like that? You're saying you know what a great player he is, right? From an X's and O's perspective, of course, in the NFC North all that time. When you're having a dinner, what kind of questions, what kind of vibe, what are the questions you're asking yourself that you want answered when you're leaving a dinner like that?
Yeah, it was pretty casual. There weren't any really specific questions. We got into what he was looking for, what we're looking for. It's really just about the fit and, really seeing the authenticity of the player. And he's a great guy, and he knows what he wants, and he's a competitor, so all those things, fit together for us to make it happen.
He's a really intense player. Drake May, to me, highly competitive, but sort of chill, how will that work? What do you expect that dynamic to be?
Yeah, Drake's maybe chill off the field. Like on the field, he's pretty locked in, so I think it's going to be a really good marriage.
Can I tell you that there were 72 players golfing in the NFLPA Golf Classic in Mayakoba last week? I was welcome there to sort of watch everything going on. Drake May did not have a great golf day, and I've never seen a more competitive, dejected. He could not. We're in Mayakoba. We're in Mexico. Everyone's having a good time. He was not performing to his standard, and it was stunning how he stood out from everybody in that competitive way.
Yeah, that surprises me to hear because I've heard he's a really good golfer. I've never seen him play, but we'll have to have a conversation about that.
He's a nut job. Like he's a maniac.
Ping pong, darts, anything. Like he's a real competitor.
What's sexier? Stephon Diggs with Travis Hunter or Christian Gonzalez with Travis Hunter?
That's a great question, and I think if he's available. Which is a huge question mark. That'll be up to the coaching staff to determine, where he's going to fit in and also if we would even pick him.
A lot of questions. Nothing surprising about there being lots of questions about the Patriots. You're holding it close to the vest. I love that. A lot of discussion about even Stephon Diggs' role. You bring him in, an elite player, and congratulations on that. I think it's huge and I think it's amazing. Where do you expect him to play? Slot?
One of the things we like about Stephon and even in Josh McDaniels' offense is just his versatility. He can play inside, he can play outside, he can move around, he's smart, he can play all 3 spots, he's competitive, he can beat press coverage, he can beat off coverage, he's good against zone. So, again, that was just one of the things that, his versatility was something that we look to add him to the team.
Versatility, interesting. Maybe not so exclusive in the slot. Maybe versatility is a big thing with the Patriots if Travis Hunter is available there at 4. The draft being in Green Bay, does that do anything to you, Mr. What is it, Notre Dame? Let me get this right. Graduate from Notre Dame Academy, Wisconsin,
Titans, yep.
in 2000. Of course, you spent time with the Packers, your dad, the whole thing. Is it special?
Yeah, I think it's really cool that, I think it's the 100th draft and it's there in Green Bay, so I think it's going to be great for the community. And, I don't know if they're going to have the hotel capacity, but I'm sure they're going to work something out.
Oh, no, I'm in a tent. You know how, like, everybody lets you park on their lawns before games? I think they're just, like, selling space
that's perfect.
and real estate for tents. And then they'll give you beers. They'll let you, like, use their laundry machine. Like,
they'll definitely give you beers.
There's nothing like the people of the Midwest. What about this fan base? These fans that they've known greatness for so long. It's such a fascinating dynamic. You were around it. You know it. What do you want them to know as we sit here at the Breakers ahead of this next season?
Yeah, I'm just really encouraged. I think Patriots fans are in store for some good things with Coach Vrabel and all the players that we've brought in, and we're definitely getting this thing in the right direction.
Speaking of intense, Vrabel, what's the first thing he did when he got in that building? Back in that building, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. He came over to the scouting area and was just watching film with us and meeting with the scouts and getting to know everyone. That's a really big thing, just culturally, that he's wanting to see what everyone's about and, working together to get this thing righted.
I got to tell you, I really wanted y'all to have Ronnie Stanley. I was politicking. I was using all my little tricks. Were you guys interested in him?
He was never actually available because he signed with Baltimore before it started.
Yeah,
but
there we go.
If he had become available on Monday, then he might have been someone that we would have talked to.
I'm trying to think of what else we want to ask you, Elliot. You don't want the other L. You answered that perfectly. We've got the 4th overall pick. We're right here, and that's great. Oh, can we talk about the anti-hate pins?
Yeah, the FCAS, yeah.
Yes, why it's important, why you're wearing the pin. I have mine on.
Yeah, this is Mr. Kraft's initiative, and it's just anti-hate, anti-Semitism, and it's really something that we support wholeheartedly.
Amazing. And we will be back after this. We've got more GMs popping by. You're a rookie. Is there hazing?
There hasn't been yet, but I was warned that there might be.
Who do you think would be the instigator of that? Who's the GM that would
Yeah, just my probably John Schneider from the Seahawks.
Really?
I've known him for the longest, so I think he would instigate some stuff.
That was a deep pull I was not expecting. We will be back here on Up and Adams after this. 4th overall pick. We'll see who they take. Mike Borgonzi's trying to look at my questions. I saw you. I saw you.
Trying to get a glimpse there.
Really? You think I know what's on these cards, Mike? Get out of here. We are sitting here with the Titans GM, the belle of the ball here at the Breakers, because you have that #1 overall pick. Yeah. What's your relationship with the #1 overall pick?
Well, I had it before. At one point in Kansas City, I was there for a long time, and we actually had it.
16 years?
16 years in Kansas City, yeah. So we actually had it. It was Andy's first year when he took over in 2013. So been there before. Don't always want to be there again. But, I've had some familiarity with it, yeah.
We'll try to get into that #1 overall pick. You told me this is your first owners meeting, Palm Beach.
First one. True.
So we're talking about, what, Everett as a fullback? No, where
fullback?
Yeah, fullback at Brown.
Fullback at Brown, yeah.
To working under Veach and Company and Andy Reid for 16 years to now GMing. When you look around, what do you think about? Do you stop and think, holy shoot, I'm here?
There's so many people. They're in the league for 16 years, and, I look around now, it's guys like, Chris Ballard that I worked with. It was Poles, it's Veach, and we're all GMs now, so I guess it's kind of like we've all grown up.
Who do you think's the most intimidating GM? I would vote for Chris Ballard.
Ballard?
No?
I don't know if he's the most intimidating one. He might come off like that.
Who is? Who's the most intimidating GM?
That's a good question.
Say it's you. It's me.
It's me now, yeah.
#1 overall.
That's right.
Why are you holding that pick so close to the vest? Like, the jig is up. You're picking #1 overall.
Well, I think you want to go through the entire process. Like I said from the beginning, that I wanted to go through the entire thing, go through the quarterbacks and everybody that's on the board, go through the workouts, the combines, the private workouts that we have set up. I think that's the right thing to do, is to do your due diligence and go through the whole process before you actually come to that decision.
You could do the funniest thing ever. Since Baker Mayfield was taken 1 and not Sam Darnold, I was at that draft, and it was like being on Monday Night Raw. Nobody could believe that happened, because 99% of people said slam dunk Sam to the Browns there. Are you pretty sure you know who you're taking?
I think we're getting closer to that decision right now. We have a few more boxes to check here over the next couple of weeks, but we're getting close. We're getting close.
All the X's and O's stuff, Mike, that's your world. You've got that figured out. Research, number, metrics, measurements, all of that. I'm fascinated with the interview process, because I will learn a million things about you just from how engaging you are, what you're saying, how you look, what do you look to get out of let's just say, sitting with Cam Ward? What are the questions that you want answered?
Yeah, you want to get to just know the person. I guess the hardest thing to do in this business, we're all going to miss on the tape at times, but the hardest thing to do is try to predict human behavior, right? So you really want to sit down with the person, get to know them, get to know their family as well. And then, our scouts go through the school during the year, and do they love football? Do they love the process? Then once we get to the combine, we actually have a chance to sit down with the coaches. That's the first time they really get their hands on them. And to go through some X's and O's and to see if things line up to what we heard going through the school, some of their football intelligence piece, their leadership ability, how they relate to people. When we bring guys in on 30 visits, it's how they relate to everybody in the building, all the different departments. We have them sit and visit with them. How relatable are they? And that's an important part of being in the locker room.
When you visited with Cam Ward, what's one thing that you learned about him? Not a football-y thing, a human thing.
He's pretty much good at everything he does, from what I hear. Research. He was a good basketball player. He was actually a good golfer, which I recently learned. Good baseball player.
That seems very important to you. You're like, oh, here he is. He's going to move up my draft board.
He's like one of those guys. He's a natural at things he does. So that was interesting to me.
You were with the Chiefs for so long. What is one thing that you were taking from that experience, almost 2 decades, closer to 2 decades than not?
Yeah.
Maybe like a mantra or an ideal that you're bringing to your new position.
You want guys that love football and love the process. So that's the big thing. We can go through this whole thing with talent, but are guys good teammates and they love football? It sounds simple, but it's really important to build a culture in the locker room that way you want it like that. The guys love football. They love meeting. They love working out, going through the process. They love hanging out with their teammates. That's important.
I imagine you've had lots of opportunities over those years to maybe branch out, take different jobs, interview for jobs. Why were the Titans right now the right move for you?
It felt like it was the right time for me personally, and then for, just in my career, I thought it was the right time. I did a lot of, had a lot of great experiences in Kansas City, got to, win 3 Super Bowls at the time. And I felt like was a great time, and Tennessee was appealing to me too. You know, they have the #1 pick. It's a great place to live. And that's important to me too when I move. And if I'm going to pick my family up and move to someplace, which I love, we loved Kansas City.
Of course.
That had to be a big part of it too.
Why don't you wear those rings? You're doing it wrong. You're a rookie here. I would just be like,
no, I don't
hi,
want to do that.
nice
no.
to, Howie, hi, you have 2. Here's my 3. No, none of that.
I'm not
Why?
big into that.
No, you're not.
No.
How do you say your last name in the most accented way possible?
Borgonzi.
Borgonzi. Mike Borgonzi.
Yeah.
I love it. You're smiling. I'm going to ask you your toughest question of the day. Are you ready?
Yeah.
No throwback unis? WTF?
I know. You know what? I let the other people take care of that. I gotta make sure the people I put in the uniform are right. And I don't really care. Don't say
you don't care. That's not the right answer.
Well, I do care, but you know, the most important part of my job is putting the right people in those uniforms. So, yeah.
That's not a bad answer. Deflecting. Yeah. He's too busy figuring out, #1, doing his due diligence, everybody. If you're going to complain about the throwbacks, Mike Borgonzi isn't the person to go after. If I were to look at your phone, if I was like Oz the Mentalist, and I could get into your phone, when would I see the last text to Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek. Probably a few years ago.
A few years ago.
Yeah.
No interest? He's saying deuces to Miami. He wants out? Any interest in reuniting with him?
He's on another team right now, so I really can't talk about Tyreek. Tyreek was a great player for us in Kansas City. You know, he was a big part of what we did there, coming up there, so I have a ton of respect for Tyreek.
These are the owners' meetings. I find that your ownership group is very special.
Yeah.
Near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
How much did that play into your move? And what would you like to maybe say about your ownership for fans?
It was a big part of it. You know, it was the first time during my interview process that I got to really sit down with Amy and Kenneth. And, you know, just that, you know, they were a big part of, you know, Bud Adams, you know, and Lamar Hunt with the AFL. So there's a lot of history there, too. And just their love and passion for the game. Really, you know, it was similar to the Hunt family for me. And then when I really got to sit down and talk with them, you know, I knew it was a special place to go.
I love that. One last one for you. If you had to throw one away, tush push or the Yankees bats?
Yankees bats.
Tell me about that. What are they doing?
The Yankees?
Yeah. Have you seen these Yankees bats?
I don't like anything Yankees. I was a Red Sox fan, so.
And that's all I wanted to hear.
So.
All right, Mike Borgonzi. I'm messing that up completely. I appreciate you.
You got
Good luck with the #1 overall pick. You're keeping it close to the vest.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens or if any moves get made. You do have an opportunity to do something fun. He's got a smile on his face. He's ready to reinvigorate that fan base here in 2025. We'll be back. What the heck that is? There's like a... Here with Chris Ballard, the GM of the Indianapolis Colts. We've got palm leaves and fans to help you out. Thank you for coming out here. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
You are so wonderful, but if I didn't know you, I would really name you the most intimidating GM in the National Football League. Do you think you are?
I think I'm pretty easy to deal with.
I feel like you're direct and honest, and that intimidates people, no?
I don't think it intimidates. I mean, I think, look, if you ask a question, I'm going to give the answer, at least from my perspective and what I think. Doesn't mean it's always right, but you're going to get the answer I think it is.
This is my first owner meeting. You've been to so many. Give me your best advice on how to take it all in.
It can be a little overwhelming, but be you.
Be me.
I think I told you that a few years ago.
You
be
did.
you.
Hey,
be you.
It worked out. Good tone evaluator over here. Let's rip the Band-Aid off with this Daniel Jones news. Happy to have him. Used to be a regular guest on my show. A lot of people are saying he's coming in for competition. I think you've said some things. I think people are looking at this, Chris, as a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
I think it's a great thing. I think anytime you can have competition at any position, because it's the quarterback, everybody's going to scrutinize it to the 100th degree. But I think the competition, because the skill sets are similar, they're both good dudes. I think they're going to make each other not only on the field, but in the meeting room. I think they're going to make each other better, and I think that's going to be great for both of them and for our team.
What would be success for you? Somebody popping off the page, either one of them, or do you have a master plan in that brain of yours?
Look, success to me is the team winning. That to me is the success. I want them both to do great. But success is the team winning.
I don't think people understand how young Anthony Richardson still is. He's such a young player.
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be another level to his game. Is there something you're specifically looking at that you need to see out of him to win that job?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've talked about some other media members here this morning about kind of what's going on in the league and the lack of patience and the quarterback carousel that you're seeing.
Crazy.
I mean, you're seeing guys go on their second, third, fourth team, and they're being successful. And we're not, and especially with young quarterbacks, we want them to be superstars right away, and that's not always the case. So with Anthony, knowing that, you don't have to fan me, knowing with Anthony.
You are so quick, Chris, it's crazy.
And knowing Anthony and knowing how young he was and the lack of experience, and what he's gained so far and what he's going to gain going forward, we still think there's major upside. When that happens, I'm not Nostradamus in that way, but we think it'll happen eventually.
I keep reading culture shift, being more aggressive. You're pretty aggressive. You went out and got Daniel Jones. Congrats on Cam Bynum. I love that as well. You're adding everywhere. You got the draft ahead of you. Is there a culture shift? What's to that?
I mean, look, because we went and spent in free agency. I mean, I look back on it, and look, our mantra the whole time has been to pay our own guys. And we've done a really good job of that. We've drafted some really good players, and we've taken care of our own guys. And I look back, and like in 20, we traded for DeForest Buckner. We signed Phillip Rivers, who both were high-level free agents. Not every move we've made in these situations have worked out. I don't necessarily say it's a culture shift, but it's one, especially in the secondary, that I thought we needed to make. Yeah. And then getting competition at quarterback's another one.
I mean, so you've nailed it so far. You got the 14th overall pick, but let's take a look at these moves that you've made here. When you look at this list, what is the position group that you're getting that Chris Ballard itch? Let me go address that.
Well, look, we're happy with the additions of Ward and Bynum.
Let's go.
Two veterans in our secondary that we think are really going to help us. You know, Daniel Jones, we've talked about. I think a little bit underrated is Neville Gallimore, who we thought who's still a young player and had a pretty good season in LA. We think he'll add to our defensive line. Corey Ballantyne's a fun player to watch. We've always kind of liked him, and we think he can fill a role, as can Herbert. And we've been following Herbert. We liked him out of Virginia Tech and like what he did in Chicago. So it'll be fun to watch.
You drafted Jonathan Taylor, I think the perfect player. Until I saw this morning, I forgot that you drafted Matt Forte, another perfect player. My favorite player in the NFL. So I wish you nothing but luck here with the 14th pick. Thank you for coming all the way out here to hang out for a little bit, and thank you for your words always. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Good luck with that quarterback competition. Let's go.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this. Howie Roseman, I don't even know, Mike McDaniel maybe. Bye. And here he is. I asked Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the genie from Aladdin, everyone to bring me two-time Super Bowl champion Howie Roseman to the show, and here he is. Congratulations.
Thanks, Kay. I don't know, should I be doing sunglasses or not? What do we think about the glare right now? Is it the lights? Is it the sun? Is it Florida?
Yes or no sunglasses? Put the sunglasses on.
Yeah, we're going sunglasses.
Be cool AF as always. I'm surprised you don't have those 2 Super Bowl rings. I'm sure one's being made. Do you have say in what it looks like?
I don't. They don't give me any say. I think they basically tell me stay in your lane, and I'm excited to see what it looks like at some point, though.
You're here for one reason only. It's the talk of the entire owner meeting. How's your forehead?
I think I'm a little less handsome than I was before it, but I'll keep it. I will keep it.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there. Did you remember everything that happened? Did you watch the Zapruder film? You're an icon, Howie.
Because it was like, you know what? I went to college at the University of Florida, and a bunch of my friends came up on Saturday night from South Florida to watch the Florida basketball game. And one of my friends said to me, he goes, I can understand why you dropped the beer. You know, it's cold out. Like, it must have been slippery. And I'm like, wait, do you think I dropped the beer? I didn't drop anything. It was thrown at my head at high velocity.
You have your scouts doing all the metrics, the analytics, the speed, MPH.
Zapruder film. I like that. That makes sense.
How does winning your second Super Bowl feel different than the first one?
In the moment, it felt different. Certainly, the first one was like it's almost like you get it off your back a little bit. I said something that Bob let me say at the combine that I'm not going to say again, but nevertheless, Bob is no longer a virgin.
Oh my God! Wow, you only get that here, folks.
And
on the Evan Adams Show.
And I think that at the same time, because of where you are in the season, you got to just keep moving forward. And we've lost a lot of good people on the field that we got to replace, and the opportunity will be there in the next few weeks to improve our football teams, which I'm excited about. So
last time I saw you was in Philly ahead of the season. It was training camp.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about Jason leaving. I was interviewing Brandon Graham, and now of course Brandon emotionally leaves. You have such a tight bond with him.
Yeah.
Is he going to have the open door? What does his locker space look like? How do you immortalize him?
Yeah, Brandon will have so many opportunities because he's got people want to be around Brandon, but when he decides that he wants to put his focus back on football, certainly there'll be an opportunity for him. My first draft pick as a GM, so 15 years later, special, and really the two of us going through it and being through things, and for him to walk off the field as a world champ. Unbelievable.
When did you have time to trademark "I bleed for this city"?
I didn't. I didn't. I don't know that I do anything that's trademark related. But
is that a rumor? Are we doing merch?
Well, like everyone, Kay, we do have people who look out for us, right, and make sure that they're protecting us. So. Luckily that I had some people looking out, and what kind of products could there be if you don't trademark it? I bleed for this city can go in all different kinds of directions, and I wasn't willing to go there, I guess, after the advice of some lawyers. So.
Yeah.
Bob's looking over very, very concerned right now.
What happens first? You retire completely, or you GM for another team?
Well,
I bleed for this city is aggressive.
I don't understand. Well, why are those talks even in consideration? Like we're in the middle right here. Like we got a lot more work to do, and a lot of more opportunities to improve our team and go kind of from there. But proud of the guys that we had on and off the field and accomplishing our goals for 2024.
When did you decide in your head I'm going to extend Saquon? Before the Super Bowl, during, or after?
Unbelievable performance, really unique performance level by Saquon, and getting the opportunity to get out in front of it and keep him in Philadelphia, really, because he's earned the right to continue playing in Philadelphia, and what he did for our team was tremendous. And we have to have a culture where when people do unbelievable things, that they get rewarded for those. And for him, it was. When you think about where he was from a salary perspective, and then you compare it to other skilled players, it certainly was different, and he had a huge impact. And so certainly was something that was at the forefront of our minds.
Was it after the Super Bowl? Like, when does that happen in your head?
You didn't have to get to the Super Bowl to realize what an incredible year Saquon was having and the impact that he had on our team. And so I think it was all part of the offseason plan. And that's really our job. Like, no matter what we're doing during the season, we got to focus on the offseason. We got to focus on free agency and the draft. And then on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, whenever there are games on, we get to watch those games.
I hate to say it, I like that you have the scar on your head because I'm hoping I don't know if you need it or not, but it reminds you when you look in the mirror to celebrate a little.
Yeah.
Did you celebrate, or was it that one day and then you were...
We celebrated certainly after the game, for sure, and that whole week. But there'll be time to do that after the draft. You know, I think at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we improve this team when we have the opportunities to improve them. And then after the draft, there's time during rookie camp and May, June, July to have some fun, for sure.
I feel like on the
For sure.
float, true or false, some sort of text between you and your scouts, your like transaction stuff. Did you go an entire day of the parade without doing any sort of texting business about your team?
Well, no, because there were I think that like agents on our team, they didn't realize we were having the parade, so they weren't leaving me alone. And
So you're catching beers, chugging beers, doing deals. It's amazing.
there were
It's
beers
amazing.
caught that day. I don't think there's any videos of those. Bob, do we have any videos of the beers being caught? Because
Bob needs to be in the interview, I think.
I know. I'd like to include Bob
No,
on it.
He's a good buffer.
Yeah,
He's good to
he's a
you.
good
And all. The
buffer.
culture,
He's a good
top to
buffer.
bottom, is great. Let me ask you this. We're at
Okay.
the owner meetings. It's my first one.
Yeah.
What is it like when you see Mr. Mara? What is that like? Have you seen him yet?
We compete against them twice a year. Tremendous respect for him and the Giants organization, and they got 4 world championships. You know, that organization, and we've competed against them for a long time. So it's everyone here. I think, you know, for us, you're competing. There's only 32 of us in the world, and so you have to respect everyone in this league that has gotten to this point. And you know, humility is an important thing in this business, for sure. As we've seen, it changes quickly. So we got to do whatever we can to make sure that we continue to put a great product out there for our fans, for our players, for our coaches, and certainly our ownership.
How are you Game of Thronesing this tush push thing? I don't know if you like. I know
I've
how you
never
feel
really
about it.
watched Game of Thrones, so anything that I would say here would be totally assuming something that happens on Game of Thrones, which
Got
I
it.
don't know. So
Do you watch anything? you a White Lotus guy? At some point, you'll watch it. Come on.
I will watch that. I do, because I love those destinations. Thailand's
Me
a
too.
cool place.
Me
Cool
too.
place.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're a Thailand guy.
Yeah, Bangkok's cool. You ever been to Bangkok?
No.
Very cool place.
But I don't think it comes off super well.
No, it doesn't.
In the, okay,
It didn't,
Sirianni
so
in
it
his
didn't.
shorts. Are we okay with Sirianni in his shorts? Did you see it?
Is he around? Did I see him?
In the photo? I mean, you're dressed to the... You could be at Paris Fashion Week right now.
You need to be you. You need to be you. I need to be me. Nick needs to be him. You know, he can't change who he is, and he's not going to change who he is. If shorts are what he's feeling, he's probably not sweating like we are right now, though. You don't look like you're sweating.
I think it's I'm just a master of dehydration.
Really? Well, I do have this secret little fan that's going on that's blowing on your
We treat
side,
you well.
and I think
That's
they're
only
blowing-
when you have
I
two.
think-
Did you see Ballard? A puddle.
Really?
We bring these out for the two-time Super Bowl champs. You know, we bring in
Wow.
the big fans.
Wow, that's nice of you.
You want to make your team better.
Yes.
What do you have the biggest itch for when you look at the draft and extra free? What are you itching? What position group?
You know, Kay, there's zero chance I'm going to answer that question. I think that being at 32, the beautiful thing is you get to observe everyone else and see what's left. Last time we were at 32, we had an opportunity to trade back. Got a heck of a player in Dallas Goedert. Got a future second-round pick. A couple years ago, we were picking just above it, 30, because there were only 31 picks in the first round. Did you know that? In 2023, there were only 31 picks in the first round. Of course you knew that. And we got Nolan Smith, so those are good results, you know. And we gotta make sure that we continue to add good players. Adding talent, it's not a bi-yearly thing, okay? It's a yearly thing that we have to do.
I love that you talk about humility. Does it feel different to be the hunted? Not that you weren't always, but before you even won your first Super Bowl, I mean, when you walk into Breakers and you're like, oh, it's Howie, he's brilliant, everyone's brilliant, they're so highly competitive, there's only 32 of you, and now you not only have 2, but you just won one. Does it feel different? Is there a different air for you? Nothing.
I don't know.
Awesome.
Not really. I certainly think you got to celebrate the moments. Like winning is fun, you know, and you got to get to celebrate with people that you're on the journey with, on and off the field. Like those are fun. Those are fun when you win games during the season. Those are the things that get you. You want to continue to do it. And so the only way you can do that is put your head down and continue to work hard and bring more good people on and off the field. And you got to surround yourself with tremendous people. And so that's what we'll continue to do, because we've lost a lot of good people. And I think those are the things, when I wake up, you're thinking about the people you lost and how are you going to replace those people.
You wake up thinking that?
Most days.
That's why Howie's Howie. 2-time Super Bowl champion, Howie Roseman, who he doesn't even like that too. You want 7, I can tell.
One at a time. One at a time.
One at a time. And it's coming out your way in 2025. Let us now hang out with GM Les Snead, who would also like a Super Bowl. Let's hang out with him. Everyone just take a breath. Les has the calmest energy, and everyone's like super frantic. We have to meet. You're in your White Lotus season 3 era right now. You seem very calm.
Season 1 yet.
Les, what do you do? Lift that mic up. What do you do outside of just thinking about football 24 hours a day? Do you have time for other things?
I try to come up with a hobby. I just fail miserably.
What's the other hobby? Potentially. Give me
Potentially, you know, I'm very
pitch
boring,
some.
so I've got to exercise.
Yeah.
So as long as I get that in, then everything else is a bonus.
How much of a bond is the working out with you and Sean McVay, who had another viral clip of him doing some sort of a...
I'm getting jealous of Sean in that I used to feel like I was strong. Now, again, he's got about 15 years on me. But now with him and Witt going and Ryan Sorensen, and I'm kind of more in my own garage doing, new age stuff.
Okay.
I feel really weak.
What's the new age stuff you're doing?
I'm always going to do some version of running, biking, and now I'm going to dabble in the lifting weights.
Okay.
But if I think I mentioned one time on the story, I used to work out with Ryan Sorensen,
okay.
who Witt hired, trains with them. And it was one of those intense, you go in there 45 minutes. I used to want to throw up doing just warming up with the bands. He would put these bands on. We're doing these ankle walks. And I was like, Ron, you know what? I can't do this. I did that. I can't do it anymore.
Well, you look great. You're feeling great. You have a very cool, low-key vibe to you today. And there's so much to talk to you about. What a big F you since the last time I saw you. Last time I saw you was in LA training camp. Everyone's talking about the Niners. Everyone's talking about a rebuild. Why isn't rebuild in your vocabulary? You're doing it wrong.
Well, the number one is we're all competitive. So you're not going to ever say, let's just rebuild. I think, though, reasonably rationally, we did when let's call it post-Super Bowl. I always called it a remodel because we had one of the more important players on the team coming back, the QB. How many teams would love to have a bona fide QB? So it wasn't like, we're in that era where our QB just left and now we're looking for the next one. That was probably the most important, probably rational, reasonable reason that we weren't rebuilding. Maybe we were retooling, remodeling.
No, I remember having a card just like this, and it had San Francisco, and then it had rebuild, then it had whole of Aaron Donald, impossible to fill, and then you went and FU'd everyone again.
Aaron Donald is impossible to fill.
I mean, you did it. You did your thing.
I think I mentioned it. We did. It probably took 5 top 100 picks to replace Aaron Donald. So we did a first rounder for Jared Verse. We did 2 second rounders for Fisk because we traded up. We did a third rounder for Kobe Turner and a third rounder for BY. So it's like 4 players, 5 top 100 picks to replace Aaron Donald.
I think you're giving GMs who rebuild and the culture of rebuilding a bad name. I think you're making it impossible.
I think I mentioned to someone, realistically, sometimes because we were cleaning up, let's call it our salary cap, there is an element in football. We're probably all scared to say, let's intentionally go do that. But when you're forced to, for the long-term, let's call it health, sustainability of the program, you're just forced to. And sometimes you're like, wait a minute, we can do that. But if you would have just sat down and said, let's do it, I think we all get a little nervous and say, you know what, no, let's try to run it back one more year.
Yeah. You're a Super Bowl champion. You're a made man. You have nothing to prove. And we're talking to Sean. I interviewed him at training camp. Talked to you a little bit on the side. But he seemed really motivated by the people are overlooking us. It was visceral. I felt it from him. How big of a part of your story and fuel is that? Or do you feel that at all?
I really don't. I think what ends up happening, it's interesting. I'm not sure the neat thing is we're in the NFL. We're here.
It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's one of the top entertainment, right? Let's call it industries, game theories, whatever we're doing here. Reality television shows on the planet. But when you do go and show up on a Sunday and play, and they're going to keep score, and it's simple math. Whoever has the most points at the end wins the game. I think at that point it doesn't really matter how many people are watching or were at the stadium or who texts you or not or tweets about you after the game. It's really like in that moment when that buzzer, whatever it is, clock goes to zero. There's something about competing at that level that really probably turns us all on in a sense.
We are here, and the Breakers is behind you. We'll be at another hotspot travel destination in a couple of weeks, Green Bay. You'll be in your war room.
Is that a hotspot?
I'll be there. Where will you be? Tell me about the bajillion dollar. Like, whose house are we renting out?
You know what? I don't think we've announced it yet. So I don't think I better not break it.
Nope, it sounds like a perfect. Give us a hint at least. Come on.
I can't say it is. It is unique to the moment we're in. But I'm not sure when we're announcing.
Are we leveling up from the high expectations I have from years past?
It's going to be cool.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say.
But then you're going to trade into the second round, right?
Questions. You're doing your job.
I'm trying to figure. I just can't believe that you would do back-to-back first-round picks. You haven't done it since Gurley and Goff. Why?
We're picking 26, so it's kind of like do we inch back into that pick 33,
round
34,
up?
35?
Yeah. Is that what?
And then you kind of That's a possibility because we don't have that second round.
I don't want to see you draft in I love that it's your thing to not do that. I love that that's it. Does that why pick in the first round? It's so uncool.
So uncool.
So uncool. I love when you don't do that, though. Yet last year certainly panned out. You mentioned Matthew Stafford. I like that idea that as long as you have your quarterback, you're not in a rebuild. Like we're here at the owners' meetings, and Mike Tomlin has people 4 deep asking him about their quarterback situation. It must feel so good to have that settled. You talked about it like it was renewing your vows. What did you mean by that?
I think I meant by that when the QB and the NFL franchise partner. I mean, really, to do it right, and especially with someone like Matthew. I mean, he's in the back 9 of his career, right? This isn't his first 5 years. So if you're going to if we're going to partner, we're not just trying to finish second in the division, right? What is our goals? Key is this: we're chasing special. And there's a lot of stress and drudgery. You know what I mean? Whatever that special is, there's a lot of stress and drudgery in that. So let's try to make sure when we do partner, when we do agree on a contract, and it wasn't like his contract, it was just every year we're renegotiating what he's going to play for. And there's a little bit of friction in all those negotiations, but main thing, when we partner, let's make sure we want to do this together. We want to go partner.
Is that a veteran thing, or is it just your mentality thing?
You know what? I think it was because he was a veteran. Because if Matthew was in his first, let's call it in the first 6 years of his contract, usually teams aren't trying to determine, do we move on, do we not?
Right.
Other teams really aren't trading. It's not like you're knocking on the door to trade for Josh Allen because you kind of know the answer. But teams were trying to see, hey, were the Rams going to continue partnering with Matthew? Were they not? So I do think because Matthew was at that stage of his career is why the process went down.
Well, partners have a say, When you're a partner with somebody, they can come knock on your door and say, this is what I want.
That's the most important thing. We should want to do this together, not have to do this together because it's a job.
What does he want? What does Matthew want?
You know what? What was really neat is I do think he wanted to be a Ram for a lot of variables. Part of that, one of the main ones, chasing special.
Yeah.
He's done a lot in this NFL.
Devontae Adams is pretty special.
What is that?
Devontae Adams is pretty special.
That's one of the reasons why we go through the let's call it the negotiations to work out a fair deal so that we can, add pieces to the puzzle to help us chase special.
What was take me back to the first time as Sean McVay makes his way over with Artis. They're going to take that shepherd's hook and yank you out of here. Don't take him away. What was take me back to the first time Davante Adams was mentioned?
Sean, we should bring him there
and Sean and Matthew. Did Matthew bring Davante Adams' name to you? Did Sean? Was it you? Can you take me back to the inception of that idea?
The inception of the idea probably became. I know it was probably the week of the Super Bowl. Sean was at the Super Bowl. I was rejuvenating in Hawaii, I like to call it.
Yeah, rebuilding,
and
remodeling.
Because I'm a competitor, I hate going to the Super Bowl when you're not in it. And most years you're not in it. So just think everybody's jacked about the Super Bowl. I'm miserable that week because it's like. We failed in some sense. So I'm hiding in a shell. But that was the first time, maybe the Jets were going to move on from Davante. So I know Sean and I talked during that week. Like, maybe that's especially if we continue partnering with Matthew, that'd be a nice piece of the puzzle to add.
So what was Matthew's reaction? Somebody he knows very well from the NFC North. Of course, there's an emotional attachment to Cooper Kupp. You said that this is going to take Sean McVay's offense to even a different level. He can line up everywhere. I think Davante's in his prime. There's no bigger fan than me. What was Matthew's reaction?
I think he was really, really jacked. And I know Sean likes to sit with his players, walk through, okay, if we bring Davante on, right, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? You start thinking about chemistry of the room and how you put all the pieces together and help them work together, collaborate, and let Sean, let's call it, deploy the pieces on the chess table, and Matthew and that group's got to go execute. Amazing.
You're here with all the GMs. It's my first owners meeting. How much business actually gets done here, Les? Like a ton?
You know what? There is a ton of business that gets done here, or at least it's executed here, or there's a finality to it here, especially with let's call it any rule changes that you're going to make to the game theory, or some of the processes that are part of it. So the competition committee plays a big part. I do think the way this is all evolved is, let's call it, by the time we get to where West Palm, wherever the annual meetings are, about 95% of the business has been put on the table. Now, there is a vote. So there is an element of when we do go vote on something major that it's similar to a Sunday. If you got to get 24 votes to pass something in that room, they haven't brought television in there yet, reality television. I do think that would be a big sale.
Oh my God,
there is some nice reality going on in that room.
Give me the pitch. We're in the pitch meeting. I'm the production company. You're trying to get me the green light. Give me a story that
just
you
like
pitch.
Reality television. You may see. Let's just say there's going to be a close vote. So usually there's those that are pro, and then there's those that are not pro, dissent, against, whatever, for, against. However we're going to say this. So there's this element where, wow, all of a sudden, someone like Andy Reid or Pete Carroll, one of these pillars that we've been watching on Sundays forever, and maybe they get up and they're pitted against each other.
I love that.
One's for, one's not, and they do a passionate debate on.
Did that happen yesterday?
And then that usually happens on let's call it the Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I think we need to strap a GoPro to everyone's head.
My thing is there's some sessions where you can kind of spar before then. Get some of the real energy.
And then the majority pushes it into the end zone, and we change the rule.
That'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to hear the debate on the tush.
Last one for you. You have to get rid of one. The Yankees bat situation or the tush push? Which one? I think
here's what I would say about the tush push. I really respect the fact that right now, it started with Philly. I mean, I wonder if it started with Malaga bringing that scrum from rugby over here. And the Bills. Point being is they came up with something really, really hard to stop. The only reason we should get rid of the tush push is if there is data that it puts players in, let's call it, more harm than normal. And I do think at that point, you have to think long term.
Artis is yanking ya. Famous Artis Twyman.
We were rolling Artis.
Who else are you talking to, Les? Come on now.
You know what? Artis has a nice schedule.
Yeah, I know.
It won't be as fun as this one,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. You got to work on renewing your vows with Puka, who said he'd retire at 30. I don't like hearing that.
Wow, you know what? They're like these Gen Z's like rock stars now. You know what? They're one hit and let's retire.
Amazing. Great to see you. I hope to be part of the reality show tonight here. It's my first owner meeting, but I feel like,
I can't believe
I'm going to come spice it up.
I mean, you've worked, you
I
did
know.
a television
I
show
never
with the
get
NFL
to go in the
forever.
field. Why wouldn't I want to melt like a snowman out here? Why not, you know? McVay's over there. Go bother McVay and Florio. Shout out to Artis Twyman, the Rams, for bringing by Les Snead to kick things off here on our first day at owners meetings. It's not your first. Is that your first time now?
It is. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
my first too.
We're rookies. I kind of want to go to the pool. It's kind of my nightmare to be, if we're honest, in the hotel where like you can't turn around without like something going on.
Yeah.
I like a little like anonymity.
Yeah.
But I'm having a blast here. Tomorrow, maybe some of the Bills brass. Jason Light on the program, ladies and gentlemen. We'll bring you more interviews.
Maybe Mike McDaniel.
Howie stuck. Mike McDaniel would be fun. Tyreek. I would say Les is like the coolest. The GMs are bringing it. I just want to say. These GMs are out of GQ magazine, okay? Coaches, I haven't got my eyes on the coaches yet, but they are like, the GMs are a 10 out of 10, styled. They all have beards. They're all in, like, their vibe. The GM crew is an entire vibe, and they're kind of, it was a different energy from Howie.
Yeah.
I feel like. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Training camp is always very different with him. I think because things are more settled for him at that point. I think he's in that pre-draft wheel and deal mode a little bit, maybe.
He's got the cards close to the vest.
Yeah.
You can tell he does not want to talk about tush push.
Yep. He's over it.
But I mean, but what is it like to be him? Like I'm saying, you can't walk around without like running into some, and like most people overwhelmingly don't want what really works for them very well.
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of Game of Thrones Littlefinger stuff going on to sort of edge things in his favor, right?
Yeah, there has to be. I know Sirianni said this morning he was talking to his old buddy Shane Steichen, like, hey, you're going to vote in our favor on this, right? And have their back. There's definitely some of that Game of Thrones stuff going on.
I'm convinced the Rams are not picking in the first round.
Yeah.
I'm convinced versatility keeps coming up with Vrabes and Elliott Wolf with 1L. So I don't think he'll be just in the slot. I think New England fans want to hear that as they're looking forward to the draft and who they're picking at number 4 overall. Versatility sounds a little Travis Hunter-y to me, to be honest. Chris Ballard is so badass. Like, I just, if I had to pick one person to like go, skeet shooting with, it'd be Chris Ballard. Who was talking to you about skeet shooting? Oh, JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
Love that. We're getting ready for Jason Light. Who else do I want to see? Who do you want to run into?
I saw Guy Fieri earlier. I don't know how you feel about that.
Why is everyone great? Why is everyone? I do. Why is everyone here though?
Yeah,
What is everyone doing? You know what the best part is? There's nothing in my ear. I'm untethered. I can do whatever I want. We'll see you tomorrow with more GMs and coaches.